Hi, welcome to the Retirement Railroad Matinee Modeling Tip of the Day. I'm Steve, and today is part 2 of the King Midas Flour Mill build, and which was part 5 of building Aurora. So that makes this part 6 of building Aurora. Might be a test. So I alluded to the fact that I had an idea of the next step in the flour mill. You know, for all apparent looks of things that looked to be done. After I had this idea, it was far from done. The next clip you're going to see, unfortunately, the sound didn't take, the mic didn't take. I still have to use that footage because by the time I realized the sound didn't take, I'd already done a bunch of things that I couldn't recreate those clips again. So you're going to see me, my lips moving, and it's going to be like a Japanese film with the dubbed narration, so bear with me on that. It's just a one small clip of this part. So with that, let's get started. So this is where we left off in the previous tip of the day, with the flour mill being substantially complete, still needing the weathering and still needing the truck dock, or the right side dock, support bars to be added. All right, you notice there's an office building across the street. Well, we're gonna change that a little bit, and we're gonna do some more kit bashing. All right, what I'm showing there is music wire, 0.036 or 0.035 music wire, and that's what I'm going to use for that awning support bars. Just cutting the proper length, putting 45s on each end, use a pin vise to drill some holes, and insert the two 45-degree bent ends into the building and the support awning, holding them in place with a little dab of CA or gel super glue underneath the awning side. The top side will stay in place, no problems, because they're going to be a tight fit. So let's watch. We'll run through a quick clip and see where I'm at with that. And there we have the front view as we look at Aurora. With the left, I'm working from left to right on the buildings and structures, and you can see the foreground buildings that are truncated over the lip of that hides the staging yard. Then you see the background buildings behind that, and then you see a series of flats behind that. All that is meant to add layering or perspective to the viewing. So that's where we're at there. Still a lot to go. I have 3 more foreground kits that have to be built and truncated and built now, since they're kits to be built. All right, we're back to that initial view with the office building and the flour mill. All right, and we're gonna basically, what the idea entails is remove that office building on the right, since it's only temporarily fixed there, and we're gonna put something else there in its place. What I'm showing there is the truncated, or the portions of the flour mill that were removed. Okay? And like I said before, I always save my spare parts. Well, I got to thinking, which can be very dangerous. I can use that, I can build a foundation for it to sit on, to elevate it up so that the floors match with the flour mill across, what will be across the street. And I can add a roof in, but it's still too far in depth. So I got to take off 2 panels from each of the ends, leaving the front and 1 panel Okay, giving it a 1-panel depth, which will give a very nice street width between the flour mill and what I'm going to refer to now as the annex. Okay, I have roofing that I can add to it from the truncated retail front building that I covered in the previous tip of the day. And so I put the roof, build the foundation, and that'll simply be made out of 1x, cut to the right sizes. And the model will be adhered to that. And I'll blend some paint to get that closely matched to the concrete panels of this annex. And I'll use the extra room, extra windows from this for what I'm going to refer to as the skybridge. Now, skybridge are very common throughout the Midwest, both in industrial districts and even in downtown office complexes. You'll see them in Des Moines, you'll see them in Minneapolis, you'll see them in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I can't recall ever seeing one in Chicago, basically because they have a tunnel system underground in Chicago and that's used more often. And likewise, like even in Oklahoma City, you know, they have both sky bridges and a tunnel system. So anyway, we'll remove that office building and get to work on making the annex and sky bridge. All right, so let's see where we're at. You see the foundation that's built and pushed up against the back drop buildings and flats. And the flour mill's been taken off. And the reason for that is I added the support bars for the canopy for the truck dock. So let's take a look at that. We'll come on over here to the bench. All right, it's a mess because I've been busy. All right, so if we look here, I've taken and I've cut 5 of these rods and then bent each end at a corresponding 45. I've taken my pin vise with a corresponding size bit and tapped holes across the top and into the canopy where the plastic ones once were. Okay. Then it's just a matter of sliding these into place through the holes and into the canopy like that. Okay. Now, the last thing we need to do with that is put a little drop of CA on there, and we will be good to go. If I can find where I put my CA. I mean, I have liquid right here, but I want the gel version. I've got some more handy dandy right back here. All right, and where I'm going to put it is on the back side, where it's not visible. All right, so the main building of the flour mill is now complete, and except for the weathering, which we'll do in conjunction with the annex across the street. So let me move this away and we'll take a look at the annex. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back at the desk. As you can see, I've truncated and taken off the extra bays that were once on here, like that. So they're gone. And I took the roof off of the other truncated building and put it into place here as well. Now, as you see, wires are hanging out. That's because I've gone ahead and put the lighting in. Now, I cut a piece of masonite to fit as the flooring. Not that I'm detailing or anything like that, but I wanted a lighting break because there's no lights in the top floor. I do have this one LED peeking out, and that will go into the skyway over to the main building. Okay, so that will have light in it. Now, you notice these wires, they are soldered to copper tape on there's top and bottom, and they wrap through. It's actually notched. I don't know that you're going to be able to see it, but it's notched over here. So the tape can just wrap around. All right. There's two strips, one for positive, one for negative. Two LEDs on the first floor. I cleaned up the glass, so to speak. I have used gray primer to protect against light bleed. And once I get the skyway or skybridge done, I will take some foam core across this back and have some weather stripping around the foundation of the base to prevent light bleed there. So let's take this back over to the layout, set it in place, and check out the lighting so far. All right, stay tuned. Well, there we have the front view with the annex behind, just barely visible. So let's look down the street at it again. All right, now you can see the annex. You can see the light coming through the windows. You can see the dock lights kind of washing out the street there, and that's fine. It's not that bright, but it is what it is on the pictures. So it's looking good. I still have the skyway to do, and then just some weathering to both the main and annex buildings. We are now into day 2 of part 2 of the flour mill kit bashing, which is part 6 of building Aurora. All right, hope you got all that. There might be a test at the end. All right, so as we look down here on the workbench, I've cut out 4 pieces of masonite. I have gone in and cut some windows to fit these window openings. And in that process, one of the inside windows broke, but hey, I'll put that back together. And if a crack shows, so be it. What old factory didn't have cracked windows, right? That's my story. All right. So once I get this assembled, then I will put a layer of styrene around it. Now, I do have 2 magnets here. One magnet will go inside of the main building of the flour mill and adhere on to the corresponding across the street window of the annex, which on the inside of the skybridge will have another magnet, so that the skybridge just magnetically adheres to the flour mill. Okay? Hopefully that made sense. Stay tuned, I'll put all this together. Okay, so here we have the skybridge, at least the structure, which is masonite. Step 1 in the skybridge assembly, and get all the masonite done. Step 2 will be to cut some sheet styrene, real thin sheet styrene from 4 sales line, to wrap it with and add the windows. All right, so there it is. If you look, there's the skybridge roughed in. I still have the styrene to put in, the windows put in, then get it painted up, and then weather both buildings. Just a little bit left to go. Okay. Cousin Benny, BNSF 5961, in one of his streams, mentioned using for sale signs because it's cheap styrene, and it's real thin. There's really no structural ability to it, so if you're gonna use it, it needs to be reinforced. And a lot of times you can use something like this, square tubing, as an example. And it comes in different sizes, but it's perfect for what I'm going to do. All right, because I'm going to laminate the skybridge with this styrene. Okay, and that'll give it a nice even appearance. I'll get it primed up, and then we can paint and match the concrete. And so we have the skybridge, its windows, being laminated, clamped together. This is the bottom. I did not use any styrene on the bottom, just on the top and around. One side is open for the light LED to go into from the Annex building. So we'll wait for this to set up and dry, and then we can prime it and paint it. So we've got the skybridge in and painted up. We've got to wait for it to dry before we can weather it and the rest of the Annex and the main building of the King Midas Flour Mill. So for now, let's put it on and take a look, and we'll come back and do the weathering tomorrow. All right, looks just like industrial street back in the 60s. Picture a railroad track going down that street, and possibly with either freight cars, or maybe it's just going to be a trolley. Not sure yet. We'll see. All right. I think it's looking pretty awesome at this point. Stay tuned. We'll get the weathering done, and we can call it quits for this set of buildings. By the way, I did put a foam core back on the building already, so there should not be any light bleed, Mr. John Linton, coming out the back. Alright, there we go. Stay tuned, we'll do the weathering and call it done. Here we have the King Midas Flour Mill Annex with the foundation built, with the skybridge and windows. I put a foam core back on it, and one of the things I need to do before I weather it is, let's go ahead and black out the edges of the foam core. A couple little lips on the roof of the building that make it a little bit difficult to fit all the way. It's just a tad bit of it hangs out. Okay? And having this blacked out will make it a lot more unnoticeable. good or enough. And it fits nice and snug so that I don't have to worry about gluing it in place. Got it backwards. There we go. Okay. So, now we can do a little weathering on it. And trust me, this is not a how to do weathering video. Okay, everybody has their own methodologies. I have mine. I'm not a heavy weather work. Just like a few accents. Brown is simply what I use as my base color throughout the layout. Alright, so that's it for part 2 of the flour mill build. It's all done, it's weathered, it's back in place. See the main building there. We can switch views and take a look down the street. You see the annex there on the right, and there'll actually be some tracks embedded in the street, and with a trolley going back and forth, winding, because it won't be a straight shot, but it'll be winding through that street. So that should be pretty cool. But it's not happening tomorrow. All right, well, let's see what it looks like at night. Alexa, lights out. And there's the track side. And let's take a look at looking down that street again. There you go, with the sky bridge over there. I want to thank you for joining me here at the Retirement Railroad Matinee Modeling Tip of the Day. Again, I'm Steve, and y'all have a great day.